Hello everybody, welcome. I'm speaking to you from the heart of Bavaria here in southern Germany in my seminar room here in Andex. And we're in the middle of winter, but it's a rather mild winter. Up until now we've had very little snow. And I'm already thinking about an island in the Mediterranean in the Aegean Sea called an island of Patmos. I've been going to Patmos with groups now for the last 5 years, normally in springtime and sometimes in September, to go deeply into the book of Revelations, written by, or delivered by the Christ and to the Apostle John. And the island is remarkable, and I feel very much at home there. And I've decided now this year in May, from the 20th until the 28th, over a 9-day period, 8 days of teaching, to offer my healing education there in English. And the reason why I've decided this is because the island's a very special place to a lot of people, not only because it was there that John received the book of Revelations from the Christ energy. And many of you know about the teacher and healer Daskalos, who I was fortunate enough to spend the last 6 years of his life on the island of Cyprus as his close student and friend. And Daskalos passed over in 1995 after having a stroke. And since then I've been settled here in Germany and have been teaching healing and other subjects that have to do with spirituality over the last 20, 25 years, 24 years. And I've had my own relationship with the Apostle John because I was befriended by John during my long stay with Daskalos. And it's actually John who instructed me how to heal after Daskalos was no longer there physically. Daskalos is stored in me and was stored in me as a role model. And after seeing Daskalos for these 6 years heal and teach, I didn't realize that it would be my destiny to also be a teacher and healer. Daskalos knew that and told me that continuously. He had complete faith in me. Bless his soul. And it's turned out to be my dharma, my path. And the healing that I teach and the healing that I do is a little bit different than Daskalos. It's built up on to a large extent on the Gospel of John, and it has to do with that a healer like myself basically empties himself or herself of egoism and actually transforms themselves into becoming a deep, deep riverbed. This is the metaphor that I use continuously, because a riverbed is important for the river. Without a riverbed, the river would flow all over the place, and that's what we do as healers. We become a riverbed for the divine mercy to flow through our faith, flow through our hearts, and flow through our hands into a client or into a friend, to free them from a lot of things that they no longer need, what we call karma, family karma, personal karma, and collective karma. And I teach a number of methods that address family karma, that address personal karma, and address also other things. And in each one of these methods, I stress that it is so important for us to be passive and to be present. And it works very well. So Patmos, again, is important to us because Patmos is called the Jerusalem of the Aegean Sea. It is the place which is described in the book of Revelation, where the new earth is created, that a heavenly city will come then in a marriage and drop down from heaven and come together with the new city. The new earth. That means Patmos is an odd island because it's not easy to reach. It has no airport, thank God. You have to fly into either Samos or Kos or to Athens. And that's a blessing that it's not easy to reach because it is protected from the masses. And Patmos itself is somewhat suspended between heaven and earth. When you're there, you feel this peace vibrating from the island and the beauty. It's extraordinarily beautiful. And at the same time, you're challenged by confronting a lot of patterns that you might be carrying. And you're being offered there through the island and through the Christ an older energy, because it was once an island that belongs to the Greek goddess Artemis. And you're being challenged to let go of these patterns, to actually be transformed into a new earth, that a marriage between your soul and your spirit can take place. And so what I'll be doing then from the 20th to the 24th is I'll be going into the basic teachings of healing and of Daskalos and of Christ. And then we'll take a day break, and then we'll come back together and we'll go deeply into healing methods, which have to do with what I received from John, which has to do with called the 7 treatments. I call it now, in the meantime, I call it transformative healing, because I'll teach what I teach and what I do here and all over Europe and Scandinavia is I ask a client to come to a healer like myself 7 times, with a separation between each treatment of 4 to 5 weeks. And that means that Divine Mercy is aware that a client is going to do that, and draws up this perfect plan in what we call heaven that will unfold then over the 7 treatments, going deeply into the chakras, into the subconsciousness, to bring that out of the body and out of the psyche, and to free a client. And it's my pleasure to teach that. It's my honor to guide so many people through these 7 treatments, because it seems like in this time of great transformation, basically a paradigm shift that we're going through, the Divine Mercy is now allowed to work with us more intimately than ever before, because a lot of the belief systems and a lot of the lifestyles that we're living, they no longer apply. They don't fit. In other words, a lot of the karma, which used to be our best friend because it taught us what we're doing wrong, a lot of the karma that we've developed over the last 2,000 years or 3,000 years, we just don't need it anymore. Meaning that the Divine Mercy, call it the Christ, call it the Holy Spirit, call it the archangels, are allowed to actually take this away from us more than ever. And so they're looking for a method where a healer like you or me will be passive. Our egoism will not be involved, where the Divine Mercy will have as much place as possible to flow through a deep riverbed, a wide riverbed, and an empty riverbed, to do that. And I have, of course, the great blessing of having Daskalos as my role model. Daskalos' role model was Christ, and both Christ and Daskalos were passive to the Divine Mercy. Christ said time and time again, I do nothing, my Father does everything through me. And even though a lot of people got the impression that Daskalos was a wonder healer, and he was a wonder healer, Daskalos never called himself a healer, because he knew it was the archangels and the Christ and the Holy Spirit who were actually healing through him. And that was his great humility. So what I do then, if you're able to join me in the island of Cyprus, I'm sure that was a slip, on the island of Patmos. Cyprus was where I was with Daskalos for those 6-7 years. I will actually talk about how we actually we unlearn what we've learned about healing. And there's nothing nicer than healing right now, especially when you're passive and you're a riverbed for the Divine Mercy, because as riverbeds we are soaking wet with the Divine Mercy. You know, so healing is actually a spiritual path, because that's exactly what we want from a spiritual path, is to come in to this eternal peace and love and grace and mercy, and have it flow through us into a client, and we also then are blessed with it and are flooded with it in a sense. And truth be told, spirituality and mysticism has been, to a very large degree, very, very theoretical. And what we need to do now is to apply spirituality and apply mysticism. And one of the ways of applying it is actually through hands-on healing. That's making spirituality active. That's making it a daily event and a daily happening in our lives. So on my website, www.theosis.com, you'll see a fuller description. I'll be teaching this in the hotel where I've been teaching the Book of Revelations for the last 5 years. It's called Nine Muses. It is a lovely, lovely, lovely hotel constructed of 13 units, apartments, each one of them separate, basically separate from each other, with as many as 20 or 30 quadrat meters. Some of them have a kitchenette and some of them have a living room. They all have a beautiful terrace, private terrace, looking over the Mediterranean Sea. And the staff there have become my family and friends over the last few years. They're lovely. They know what we're going through. They take care of us. And just within a 5-minute walk, you basically go down to a private beach, which is just a great place to relax and to get away from the world. From there, we can walk to the Monastery of John, and we can walk to the cave where John received the Book of Revelation, and from there we can walk to other beaches and enjoy the island. They've given me a special rate for our visit because it's the off season. The 20th to the 28th of May it's nice for us to be there because the masses will arrive later in June. So we basically have the island to ourselves. And as I said, the island supports this work, and the island is with us and guides us through deep, deep healing, guides us into a peace. And I can't imagine, especially because of the relationship of John and Artemis, a better place to go into healing. And if you join us, you can expect a lot of spontaneous healing to take place during these 8 days together, 9 days together. And yeah, so please let me know if you want to join. Up until now, we have a couple of places that are taken. And I will do it even with a small group being as few as 6 people, because I'm going to stay on anyway to teach the Book of Revelations the week after. So let me know if you want to join, and if there's any way I can help you with the logistics of how to get there. If you want to stay longer, then let me know. I can book your room for a little longer before. After, you have to maybe move to a new hotel, which I know, because my group will be coming in to go through the Book of Revelations in German and in English. But this healing course will be taught in English. Okay, God bless you all, and I hope to see you in Patmos in May of 2020. Okay, take care, everybody.